Like I was there in IPM program of IIM Indore for 1.5 months, and post that now I'm there in SRCC. So for quants, I would any day suggest that the material AceIPM provides you is the top-notch material you'll find anywhere. Apart from this, mocks really helped me a lot. Like I attempted 60, 70 mocks, I remember, and that is something. So there's a general misconception that the professors do not go through that form. So that is not the case. They do go through it, and that is something that will form the shape of your entire interview that follows. And yeah, apart from this, the mentorship sessions were really helpful for me because you tend to share your problems with someone who can easily relate to, because these people were there at your place the last year.
If in case you're a part of our preparation courses at AceIPM, you have the ability to book unlimited number of these mentorship sessions. And one of the mentors that we have with us is Yash himself. Hey folks, Saksham this side from AceIPM. Today we have with us Yash, who has been All India Rank 13 in IPMAT Indore and All India Rank 2 in CUET Eco Honors course of the Delhi University. He's here to share his experience, his journey of preparing for an examination like IPMAT and CUET, what are his takeaways and what are the ins and outs of the exam so that you can do the same. So with that out of the way, let's just jump into the introduction. So hello Yash, could you please briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So hi guys, I'm Yash. I scored 98.8 in my class 12 and 97.4 in my class 10. I'm from the Commerce with Math stream, and like I was there in IPM program of IIM Indore for 1.5 months, and post that now I'm there in SRCC. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a first world problem to have, whether to choose IIM Indore or SRCC when you have been selected in both. But since you have been in IIM Indore for a month and a half, as you mentioned, what were your reasons of switching from IIM Indore to SRCC?
Yeah, so first of all, this is something that I've been answering in all my mentorship sessions so far. So yeah, my key reasons for switching was that SRCC provides you time and an opportunity to explore yourself in the extracurricular field, which is something I feel IIM lacks a bit. And yeah, that was the primary reason I switched to the course.
Yeah, I mean, that is very well understood. Even when I was a part of IPM at IIM Rohtak, the life at IPM is going to be hectic. It is going to be full of acats, full of extracurriculars also. But in a way, the life there is hectic in general. It provides little time. It does provide time, but a little time in terms of doing something of your own. So that definitely is something that IPMs can improve on. But if you were to guide some of your junior in terms of if they had the same situation of IIM Indore or SRCC, how would you go about guiding him, or what would you give him as key consideration in terms of how should he go about selecting them?
So like I'm just a year elder to you guys, so to give you a better insight, I will tell you what I learned from seniors I interacted with and what were their takeaway on this. So first thing, that IIM Indore is a great course academically, and the amount of rigor this course provides you molds you into a better person any day. And since it is a residential program, it is worth giving a take. But maybe if you want to try something before going for a master's, because this is something you can do any day after a bachelor's degree, so maybe then you can consider going to a DU college. Or if you want to explore yourself in any extracurricular field, be it singing, dancing, music, all these things are something that DU provides you an opportunity for. So maybe if that is something you are really interested in, then you can definitely go for DU. Or else, if you have to compare just the academics, then I any day suggest you to go for IIM.
Perfect. That makes complete sense. But now that we were talking about academics, to be a part of this program, to have this option of getting into either SRCC or IIM Indore, you had to give two examinations, primarily IPMAT Indore and your CUET. So what was your preparation like for both these examinations? What did you have to do in addition to your IPMAT prep to ace the CUET examination also?
Okay, so to start from the very beginning. Initially, there was nothing like CUET when I started my class 12, so it was just IPMAT throughout the year and boards as well. So initially, there was quite a switch between boards, IPMAT, because I was not really sure whether I want to go for IIM or any top two college. In fact, that was something I was confused between till the last day I was there in IIM. So see, initially 3-4 hours each day for IIM was something that I made sure I devote. And apart from this, I was consistently focusing on my boards since I was not very sure, as I mentioned. Once the CUET thing came up, so post my term 1 exams, that is from December, in fact December 15th, I exactly remember the date. So that is when I seriously started preparing for both the exams. Then at a point it came, I thought that I won't be able to clear IPMAT, so I switched completely to CUET. And then after 3-4 days, I realized CUET is something that I won't be able to do. So let's get back to IPM. So yeah, it was completely a roller coaster ride, switching between both the exams all the time. And that I feel is something quite natural to happen with you guys as well.
Makes sense. So, any key tips in terms of how should one go about preparing for these examinations? What resources, what guidance can they follow in terms of cracking these?
So I'll start with IPMAT first of all. So for quants, I would any day suggest that the material AceIPM provides you is the top-notch material you find anywhere. Apart from this, mocks really helped me a lot. Like I attempted 60-70 mocks I remember, and that is something I'll suggest that you should go for if you have the required amount of time. Coming to verbal, most of the people end up neglecting it. So I will suggest that you devote at least an hour each day to verbal, and that too you devote that time to each of the section that is tested in verbal, so that you do not lag anywhere, because it is a section which could either help you ace the exam actually or break your score entirely. So yeah, for quants I would suggest that you go for ace material, and for verbal is where you go with it. Also practice regularly for verbal, you should not neglect it any day. And now coming to CUET, I'll suggest that first of all go through the NCRTs pretty thoroughly, because that is something you are primarily tested upon, since the course is based around CBSE pattern. Apart from this, if you could lay your hands on some good marks, that is also a nice thing to go for. So CUET primarily is all about concepts, so make sure you are clear with your concepts, and then I think you'll be able to ace that too.
Perfect, that makes complete sense. Since you talked about the resources provided by AceIPM, you have been a part of our preparation courses also. So how has your experience been with us?
Okay, so the experience has been really amazing, and the things which worked out really well for me were first of all the live marathon classes conducted before the exam. So I remember like sitting 6 hours each night before the exam, and apart from this, the mentorship sessions were really helpful for me, because you tend to share your problems with someone who can easily relate to, because these people were there at your place the last year. So these two things were something that worked out really well for me. Apart from this, the mocks had video solutions, so in case you are stuck somewhere, you can just refer to that video, which is quite helpful, because that is something generally institutes do not provide you.
Thank you so much for the valuable feedback, and also just to let you guys know, if in case you're a part of our preparation courses at AceIPM, you have the ability to book unlimited number of these mentorship sessions, and one of the mentors that we have with us is Yash himself, and he gets a lot of questions about why he chose SRCC over IIM Indore, so we thought why not just cover that in a video. But moving further, to be able to to have gotten into IIM Indore, it wasn't just the entrance that you gave, you also had the interview. So how did your interview go in terms of the IIM Indore's admission process?
So like before the IIM Indore's actual interview, you are supposed to fill a form, right? So there's a general misconception that the professors do not go through that form. So that is not the case. They do go through it, and that is something that will form the shape of your entire interview that follows. So for me, since I was very much interested into startups and all, my answers were quite filled with it. So my interview for 7-8 minutes, it was quite filled up with questions about how startups work, what's the drawback, all these stuff. Like 7-8 minutes, we were just discussing about that. Post that, the professors doubted my maths a lot, so they were like cross-checking with me whether I know maths, whether I know this concept. But they were pretty easy questions of graphing some functions, right? Apart from this, the interview was quite chill, and they tend to relax you a bit because they understand that you are there from +2. So interview overall is quite fun and relaxed, and based on your answers for the interview. So these are just follow-up questions that come.
Makes sense. So since your interview was also mathematically heavy, and that is something which we see quite often in the case of IIM Indore interviews. So how would you recommend somebody go about preparing for the mathematics part if they are also sitting for IIM Indore's interviews?
So what I'll say is that you should first of all be clear with your concepts, and as far as I have talked to my batchmates in IIM, so graphing is something they check very often, so you should be very clear with how the graphs are plotted. Apart from this, maths is definitely a major part of it, but they also tend to check on other concepts that you are studying in your classes. So make sure you just do not focus on maths, but also focus on the other subjects. Obviously, maths is something they will primarily test you upon, because term 1 is filled with a lot of mathematical subjects and courses.
Makes sense. So, one question which, a lot of aspirants have at this moment of time is that we're sitting here in the month of December. Boards are just around the corner. Then IPMAT and CUET will also follow. So IPMAT probably will be held in the month of May, around second week. So there's not much time left for people to be preparing for IPM. At the same time, a majority of the crowd who's actually going to give IPMAT starts their preparation right now only. So in that case, do you think it is possible to crack an examination like IPMAT in this given timeline, which was similar for you also in a way? And if yes, then how do they actually strategize and prepare for it?
So what I'll suggest is that, one more question that follows up is it too late to prepare for IPMAT, which is often asked to me. So see, I first of all started my prep in December 15th. So pretty much you understand, right? So what I'll suggest is that it is not too late, first of all, and since board marks won't be considered anywhere, like you maintain a decent percentage over there, but there's no need to go for a 99% or 98% this time. So you should focus on completing your IPMAT syllabus first of all, and post that you should attempt as many mocks as possible, because this is something that will see while attempting the actual exam, you'll realize whether the paper is hard, difficult, or hard or easy, because you would have attempted so many mocks that you already know while attempting that what is a good score for you or how many questions you should go with. So first of all, complete your syllabus and attempt as many mocks as possible. That would be my key strategy for appearing for this particular fight.
So, fair enough. But to add on to your point in terms of maintaining a decent percentage, if in case you are somebody who's going to go and, you're very sure that you're going to go for management, ideally, even if you're sitting for your MBA entrances, those people are also going to check your board's percentage also. But usually they have a band system. So anybody who's getting anything above 90%, be it a 91 or be it a 99, they're both considered the same candidate. And, they in most of the colleges, they do get a 10 on 10. So it's not that you neglect your boards completely and score nothing like a bare 40, 50, 60%. That is not what he's trying to suggest. What he's making you realize is that now that the importance of board is not as much, maybe you can shift your some time out of your board's preparation in terms of preparing for an examination like IPMAT also. So fair enough. Any final tips for your future juniors who might be wanting to prepare for IPM or CUET?
Yeah. So one tip that I like to give you guys is, see, even if you clear the aptitude test, there is an interview that lies ahead of you, right? So all those people who clear the aptitude test are academically at par, right? So there has to be something that helps you set out from that crowd, helps you differentiate. So for that, I'll suggest that, let's say you have certain hobby or something, then you should definitely pursue it. Obviously, a national level certificate at each of that hobby is not required, but something that adds value to that classroom is something you should search for it within yourself, because if you have a week's time between your aptitude test and personal interview, maybe you cannot develop that hobby in that particular time or explore it that much. So if you can take out some time to just relax and focus on your hobby, that is also something you should do, because that will help you in the personal interview any given day.
Makes sense. Again, adding on to that, if you are currently preparing for IPM 23, you barely have a couple of months left. Now is not the time to develop a hobby. What he's trying to focus on the point is that you have that introspection within yourself and try to figure out what is it that I really like, what is it that I've been doing for quite some time, what can I essentially use to pivot the entire interview and drive it my way. And that is what has to come, because maybe it is just not possible for you to come up with that, have that great thought, and have that level of introspection just a week before your interview. So that is what it is, we are trying to convey over here, and not to just go out and do 100 different courses or start a new hobby altogether when you have boards on your head and then followed by IPMAT. So makes sense. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and I am sure people would have gotten a lot of value out of this. If you guys did, please leave a like, share it with your friends who might also find it helpful, and subscribe to the channel for more such updates. If in case you are an AceIPM student, you can book a mentorship session with him. Even if you're not, all the very best for your exam. I'll see you in another video. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye.
So now, how can we get you started? Go to aceipm.com. Over here, you will see the free counseling button. Click on that, enter your details, and a future senior of yours from IIM is going to give you a call, and you can get all your doubts clarified from them.